The Passionate Leader, because leadership without passion is just a title.
Meeting. We got a collapse in the garage. Get the squad back equipment in here. We got an I-beam gone to a firefighter.
Get that out, urgent, transmit a second along.
This is where titles end and leadership begins. Ask yourself this. You and your spouse start a powerhouse platform that tanks on what it's like living between shifts and sessions. Do you do enough to understand the importance of hobbies? Do you understand relationship challenges? Or, better yet, do you understand the importance of creating a loving home environment? In part 2 of our conversation with Terry and Kristen Dunn, we discuss exactly that, how important it is to have a loving home, the need to have challenging conversations in our relationships, and what it's like to get hobbies and how important they are in our life and our mental health. Let's pick up where we left off. Part 2 of our conversation with Terry and Kristen Dunn right here on The Passionate Leader. How'd you guys come up with the name for it?
I mean, I think it really, again, goes back to those moments where we set aside to connect. It was between the times of my sessions and his shifts that we'd be like, okay, we kind of gotta come together here. I don't know. It just kind of blended and morphed into what it is now through the idea months ago, a couple years ago, and then here we are.
I think we went through 2 or 3 different names, and then I think you came up with that one. And it was like, that's it.
So cool. Now, if you guys, if you guys start to notice that you, even with, regularly checking in, do you guys still sometimes sort of feel, pulled apart? Not nefariously, but, whether it just be, you have your, your daily stuff, but have you ever found that, you still have outside, forces that sort of still kind of, add stress that you're not really expecting and stuff like that?
I think every couple does, right?
Yeah.
Like, so society's not really built in a way that supports long-term relationships. I mean, there's
Yeah.
constantly obstacles being thrown at any couple, whether it's, the expectation of the kids always being in a sport or on, involved in various things that kind of keep the time at a minimum, or financial obligations, like gotta have a nicer house, nicer car, so there's so many things that could potentially be obstacles. So yeah, of course we've experienced those, but again, it kind of goes back to making the decision like not an option.
I love it. Gosh, you guys, this is so fun. So Terry, how, I did see in the bio that you do bagpiping. Is it sort of more, is it, I don't want to say freelance is the wrong phrase, and do not take anything I say as disrespectful. I am,
No.
I am an illiterate New Englander. So, is it something that, you're part of an organized group, or do you just sort of picked up the, the desire to want to do it?
Yeah. Well, starting it was actually kind of a joke because a long time ago I wanted to, because I have Irish heritage, and I wanted to wear a kilt to St. Patty's Day. And she goes, "The only people allowed to wear kilts are people that play bagpipes." I go, "Deal." Kind of regret saying that now, but no, we actually have a band here, our fire department, and also neighboring departments around us have some players. We also play with our police department also has a band, and we
Nice.
always join up and play together. We have practices every Thursday night. No, it's really something I enjoy doing. Well, the side gig, I haven't had a whole lot of time to practice as much as
Yeah,
I
sure.
should, but yeah, it is something that I enjoy doing.
Well, and for anyone out there that's considering listens to this, like, oh, cool, I want to play the bagpipes. As a spouse, when I come home from work and I pull in the garage and I hear that damn bagpipe practice, I'm like,
Yeah,
my God.
especially when I'm learning a new tune. Yeah, yeah.
Who ran over the neighbor's cat again?
Right.
It's funny because, of course, it's only for me, it's anytime I'm ever around events that have it, which usually in the fire service,
Mhm.
unless you have an organized group that does, charities and stuff like that, it's generally speaking, it's at our funerals and memorial services. But every
Right.
time I'm like, "Man, I wanna really learn it." I probably for good reason because, I mean, I do have really high lung capacity, but I also have a hard time keeping beat walking and moving my hands at the same time. So, I mean, just having a thought and walking at the same time for me can be pretty tricky. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have been told it's pretty challenging to learn the bagpipes.
It is. I mean, it did take me a while, to build up to that. And yeah, before I was doing background, I was also on the honor guard. So doing the honor guard and learning what all that was about, and then also then hearing the bagpipes and seeing all the honor that goes into it, all the traditions and everything, and how the family like really appreciates that, and I really want to be a part of that. I really wanted to give the family something to kind of remember their loved one
Mm.
by doing that for them. Now, I mean, I will say it is tough. When you play Amazing Grace, a lot of the times
Oh,
I'm looking down at the ground because it's really hard to see the family.
sure.
And
Yep.
that's one of the things we talk about when I come back from a funeral, she can just kind of tell. I mean,
Mm.
sadly, a few months ago, it was a month apart. We lost two police officers in our city. So there's within a month's time, we had two funerals to play.
Yeah.
But I know the families really appreciate it, and they'll come up and thank you and everything. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it for them.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've been playing for about what 5 years, about
Mm,
about
I
5 years or so.
Nice. All right. I mean, up in the New England area, there are a few band. Generally speaking, like the New Hampshire State Police. I think the Hampshire State Police Association has a really large following. I might be naming the wrong organization, but it's generally the police base. But there's a lot of firefighters that are in it because there's not specific fire departments uh that really play into that. So I think it's
Mhm.
really fun. I mean, and I think it really highlights another thing that, yes, having your ability to come home and you guys have what is, I think, every couple should aspire to have is this connection of let's go sit. We're going to sit on the deck. We're going to have we're going to talk and we're going to get through what our days were like and so on and so forth. But I also feel that there's a lot to be said about having a hobby that helps us offload, the tough days.
Mhm.
um so to that, I mean, Kristen, is there something that you do that you sort of use as um your version of the bag? But please tell me you play the drums. That'd be even funnier. I think that would be a true.
That would
I
be
would hit
awesome.
this that right there. It's the America's Power couple right there. I would stop the recording.
Right.
Actually, I am like the most fulfilled. I am at my peak when I am able to spend time in my home. I love to cook. I love to
Oh,
nourish
okay.
my family. That fills my cup, so to speak. Creating an environment that's warm and loving, and just that's my expression. That's the way that I express
Okay.
my love.
Yeah.
That is my thing. And so if he's off, I'm probably in the kitchen doing something. And it's not like food is love as much as it is. I want to create an environment that he feels
Yeah.
safe coming home to.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. What is your absolute favorite thing to cook or bake?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I can tell you what I don't bake, and that's
Amen.
sourdough bread.
Okay. All right. Yep. We'll
That's my
leave that to
nemesis.
the best bread I can bake is the frozen loaves from the grocery store,
Right.
if we're being honest. I
Yeah,
can
yeah. When
make.
it's my turn to cook in the firehouse, I'm like, "Hon, what should I make?"
Amen,
I
right?
need
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
need detailed, like, recipe. She could throw stuff together without any kind of recipe, and I'm just like she's like, "What are you doing?"
I feel that.
"Almost a
Well,
half a teaspoon."
dude, amen. Yeah, we'll watch any cooking competition show ever on, whether it be, the Food Network, enter Medium here, and I'm like, how do these people take these just a shelf of ingredients and they're like, "That is going to be, blah 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 with a side of yada yada yada," and I'm like, "I don't know what they're cooking. It sounds delicious." And before you know it, yeah, I just that's a gift. That is
Yeah.
an absolute gift.
I think that that comes from growing up in a house where you didn't waste food, right? Like if you got 5
Sure.
ingredients in the cabinet, you better make dinner, figure it out. We just did.
That's really, really true. I that there's boy, is there that's such a solid point. Um, yeah, and I mean, gosh, Terry, I'll tell you, I mean, if I was you and it was my time to cook, I'd be like, "Hey, so we're gonna do this," and I'd be like, "We're gonna go meet Kristen off site real quick to go pick it up." To which she'd be like, "Hey, put this in the oven 350 for 2 hours. You'll be all set."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't have any other. All right, so actually, here's one. What is We kind of talked about the stuff we need to do at home, but what is one conversation every first responder couple needs to have, but they might be avoiding?
Man,
Might be avoiding.
no softball on there.
Well, for me, it goes back to being honest, right? Like if a
Mm,
spouse, and I'll just traditional, like if you've got a stay-at-home spouse, the resentment that's there, that quiet resentment that builds.
Mm,
It's okay to feel that way, right?
yeah.
It's okay. It's
Yep.
okay that you feel that way. And just being super honest about those things. But you cannot be honest with each other without being honest with yourself. And I think we're kind of ingrained to be for the first responders. It's I'm okay when in fact they are not. For
Yep.
the spouses, it's you don't care about me. You're always at work. When in fact that is not true.
Sure.
So they're just like huge disconnection, and it's really just about not being honest.
Mm, I like it.
Did
I
I
like
answer your question?
You did, yeah, no. So there's actually there's a couple of different. So Terry said it earlier, I believe, and then you did. They're two one word, or sorry, they're two word phrases that you guys said. So you just said quiet resilience. Um,
Or
what?
resentment?
Sorry, I cannot even read my own handwriting. Quiet resentment. How how does that manifest for somebody who might be on the outside looking in at somebody who's doing that? Generally, we'll go in generalizations. Obviously, everybody is different, but we're going to take this as perfect world where everybody reacts in the same way. But if somebody might be having that quiet resentment, kind of going on, what typically would somebody expect to see from the outside looking in?
I can only speak to my experience, and I'm actually in the process of kind of actually we're working on a book, and I speak very much detail about this specific topic and how it manifested for me, what I learned from it, and it was, he was really good about prioritizing his own self care. So came off shift, go to the gym, bagpipes, whatever it was, and I would just get really angry. Right,
Hmm.
I've been home all day. I'm exhausted. I miss you too. Why am I not in the equation? And it manifested for me in a way of anger, just getting really pissed off, just
Hmm.
not feeling prioritized. When I did some self reflection, though, it's like, oh, I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at me because I'm not prioritizing myself. And so being honest, again, going back to that honesty thing, getting really clear about what am I feeling and why. I'm
Hmm.
not mad at him for going to the gym. I'm mad at me for not allowing myself to.
Dang. That was deeper than I That was really good.
I do that sometimes, sorry.
I like that. No, I wow. I um that I you know what? I never heard the phrase, and I mean I could have assumed what it meant, but I think again, I think that you being able to kind of portray what that is, because I feel that most people generally act similar enough so that there's going to be some semblance between multiple different people of what that looks like. And for our first responder wives that are listening to this or watching on across the platforms, is so that they understand that they're not just in this fight or world all their own because if you're not with somebody in body or at least in some sort of connection, I feel that you're going to feel like you're in a world all by yourself. And
Mhm.
there's definitely people for every firefighter that's out there, there is somebody at home. It could be as little as a pet goldfish for all that matters, but there's somebody that is kind of, everybody in the world I think has a counterpart, it could be, a puppy, it could be a spouse, it could be a spouse in a family of 15, but there's always so it's understanding that, the world doesn't revolve around any one specific, like it doesn't revolve around me.
Mhm.
So I think that's an amazing, example. The one that I had, Terry, you said earlier was protective silence. Another one I've so
Mhm.
I'd like to say you knock my socks off, but I'm wearing slippers, so I could knock those off. So from your perspective as a spouse kind of going into protective silence, for the backside, what is, when you were going through those moments of protective silence and stuff like that,
Mhm.
maybe walk everybody through like why the whys, the hows, and maybe what when you realized when you're like, oh man, I shouldn't be doing that, to help other, our fellow brothers and sisters.
Well, I think what it was, I think I was just kind of scared of how she would react if she knew some of the things that I was doing. It's not typical for somebody to run to a burning building. It's not typical for somebody to, run towards the gunshots that.
Mm,
So a lot of those things I I kept from her so she wouldn't have to worry about me. But in doing so, it pushed a lot of those feelings and thoughts deep down inside and just over time kind of made me angry because I had to like get it out, but wasn't really sure how to, if that makes sense.
mhm,
For the longest time I wouldn't talk and how was your shift? Oh, it was fine. Ran 2 calls. No big deal. I mean, never mind that it was something horrible or something crazy happened that day. But it was kind of protect her so she wouldn't worry about me. But like I said, in doing so, it just kind of just I don't know, just built something up inside of me and just kind of created that kind of anger because I had to let some of that stuff out, but I just didn't know how to,
mm,
if that makes sense.
yeah. No,
Well,
I
and the
I love it.
reality, I'm so sorry.
No.
The reality is, and I think we did a few, maybe some posts about this particular thing too, but the reality is you're not protecting your spouse, you're protecting yourself from having to deal with it, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
you're either protecting yourself and your own mental health, or you're protecting yourself from having to face whatever that's going to bring to your spouse. And that's the reality of this work. And I think we have to be really clear with each other, as couple, whether you're married or not, what our jobs require. That this is what the job is.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. I only have, I think, a couple more questions and all that, but um, so kind of what to a lot of it sort of mixes around, but when one of you guys is struggling, we've kind of covered how you guys handle that. But how do you know if you're actually making a difference in helping the other get through that trauma or that bad session or bad call?
How do we know? That's a good question.
That is a good question. I think a lot of time is you just kind of relax. Like I can
Okay.
see in your shoulders, like it's up here and then kind of talking about it and just kind of relax.
Yep.
Being comfortable enough with each other to talk about those things and just seeing I mean, you can physically see the stress uh
Sure.
relief to somebody. I mean, I think that's what it is with me, seeing that with you.
For me, with him, it's I think often with him, it's he has difficulty accessing the language, right, to
Mm,
explain the emotion, which is so crucial in communication. And for him, sometimes it's like, I know that I feel this way, I just don't know how to say that what I'm feeling. And so kind of helping him articulate that. Once he gets it out, it's almost like I've seen with him, he's like, "Oh, that's what it is." How do I show the guys at work, or how do I tell my buddy
Mm.
what just
Yeah.
happened? It's like this unpacking process, and then this, holy crap, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's um I mean, and it has to feel from from both perspectives. When you finally make that breakthrough, it's got to feel like almost like opening the dam, I would imagine. Like how we got, like, or like, you're just scratching the surface, and all of a sudden, the floodgates open up. Which, I mean, granted, sometimes they might be the floodgates of tears and
Mhm.
and ugly crying, but that happens, and and it helps. It really does. Um, no, I love it. So the last question I have that I generally ask most everybody, so it's slightly altered because it's you guys are the only the second episode or conversation I've ever had with a pair of people, which I think is honestly really fun. I like having multiple people to bounce ideas off of. But for the firefighter who's listening today, just starting their journey, what is your raw and unadulterated advice from each of you?
Um, for me, hmm, well, I mean, aside from being out there learning, you're always learning your craft, right? And getting better. Surround yourself with positive people. In the there's always the negative people that are always sitting around that hate this or whatever. Surround yourself with the positive people, um, people that like have good relationships, people that you feel comfortable coming to, and it doesn't have to be a captain. It can be a backstep firefighter. I
Mm,
mean, somebody that you feel comfortable enough to go, hey, brother, hey, sister, hey, this kind of what's going on here. Can you guide me in the right direction? Don't be afraid to do that. I know they say like when you're new in the fire service, you're supposed to just shut up and listen. I
yep.
mean, but there's times where I don't want you to shut up in those moments that you're feeling a certain way, you have a bad call, you know.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so I think that'd be my advice for them. Don't let it, don't let the salty dogs bring you down. Don't listen to the, well, if you can't hack a kid conversation, because I did, and it got me nowhere.
I
So
love it. Yeah.
yeah, that would be my advice for them.
And I have so many. I have to answer with one response, huh?
No, you can. So I do say one, but I mean, if you have a few that really are almost tied for the top, give everything that you have, because anything we can give to our to our listeners is gonna help enrich their careers and their lives and
Sure.
everything. So let her rip, unload. I'm okay with it.
Right. Well, I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was the fire service in particular is really important, and in the sense of the people that you are surrounded by, right? Your brothers, your sisters, they cannot be your entire life. Create a world that is balanced and as enriched with people who have no idea what that life is like. When I see that, it worries me for people. Like,
Mm,
yes, there's a level of understanding, but there's also no disconnect. And when there's no disconnect, lines get really blurry and relationships start to really struggle. So I think that would be the main one. I mean, of course, I have different thoughts about for spouses of new firefighters. Um,
if you want, please, because I mean they're listening as well. So I mean, that my hope is that with our episodes and this conversation, that when spouse and family firefighter first responder families, rather, even if they're police officers, um that if they're listening to this conversation, that they can be like, oh my gosh, what a wonderful thing. And so please, I mean, if you have something for a spouse as well, please feel free to share. Yeah, please do.
Gosh, I think, for most spouses, I think it's really difficult being alone, right? That is just the reality, especially if there's kiddos. Learn to turn those moments of loneliness into self-care and prioritization of what fills you up, what fills your cup. For me in the beginning, it was so awful. It felt so lonely. But when I was able to shift that and really kind of not look forward to, but almost like, okay, there's time for me to do those things when he's on shift.
Mm,
and it allows me to not be as lonely. It allows me to feel like I'm prioritizing myself again. That's really important, and I think if we could kinda push the narrative of that more than
yeah.
let's complain a lot about it, we'd have a lot of happier couples.
Mm.
That's there's a lot to be said about that. I feel that I have found that I enjoy my time, just me time, whether it be I'm down here in in the studio doing this, or it's even if I'm quite literally at home by myself just doing chores. It's just sometimes people just need that opportunity. So that's awesome. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to cover before we wrap it up, or anything like that? I like and this by no means has to be the only time that we ever connect. If there is,
Right.
as everything progresses on both of our platforms, I can foresee us um certainly crossing paths again. I thank you guys, folks. This has been Kristen and Terry Dunn. I thank you for spending time with me and the Passionate Leader and the Passionate Leader podcast. If something today in our conversations hit home, don't just sit on it. Put it into action and share it with someone. Be the person you were looking for when you were joining the fire service. Make sure you share the Passionate Leader across all platforms and follow both the Passionate Leader and between shifts and sessions, especially if you are a married or a committed couple in the fire service, emergency services across the world. Terry and Kristen are doing some amazing stuff. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is JP with the Passionate Leader. Lead with passion, serve with humility, and leave no room for bottom feeders. Until we meet again next time, guys, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.